Good afternoon, Justine. So we're here to talk about your work on the last 2 years of life and some analysis that we've been doing in the Midlands. So if you could just start by introducing yourself and then we'll talk about where this piece of work came from.
Yeah, lovely. So my name's Justine Wiltshire. I'm an analyst at the strategy unit, and I have been working on the end of life care data analysis and report that you'll see in the videos here.
Great, thank you. And so this piece of work has been in the pipeline for quite a long time. And I know both of us have committed a bit of time to it, you more than me. So how did this report kind of come about? Like why are we interested in looking at end-of-life care?
Actually, the report came about in a few different routes, really. About 18 months ago, we had a request to do several pieces of work on end-of-life care. And actually none of those were successful. The money wasn't available for those pieces of work. But it did occur to me that they were asking very similar questions, and actually there was some benefit to doing one really big piece of work that would answer lots of questions for lots of different organisations. We then had some funding that was made available to look at a small part of end-of-life services. And then we were lucky enough to have this extended and to be able to do a bigger and more rigorous project around end-of-life care.
Yeah, great. So as you said, it's been a big piece of work. It's taken a long time. What would you say has been kind of your experience from doing it, and what have you learned as an analyst in looking at such a broad topic, and what kind of advice would you give to people looking to use the work that you've produced?
I would say, from an analyst perspective, it's actually been, it was a very big job to prepare the linked patient level data set. Millions of records from different sources, different levels of data quality. Some data sets I knew very well, some were very new to me, so there was a learning there to kind of be able to understand everything and bring it together. And I would describe that as a definitely non-trivial part of this project, so that was a big learning for me.
And in terms of findings and what people might find when they delve into the report.
Yeah, well, hopefully people will find lots of interesting information there that they can apply to real situations, to real people. I would say there are a few things that surprised me, not so much as an analyst, but kind of as a normal person when I was looking at the data. The number of deaths in hospital, you'll see in the videos, that's 47% of people in the Midlands die in hospital. And actually I checked that figure many times because I was convinced that was too high and it could not be right. Yeah,
no, there are definitely a couple of nuggets like that just take you back a little bit, and it's like, actually, is that true? Is that true? I think for me, one of the things was also the difference between people dying from cancer compared to other conditions, and actually just the different experience that they have in the last few years of life.
The location, place of death date is quite stark. I think that, cancer patients, far more dying in a hospice, but organ failure, very few, yet, there's some scope to actually do services for organ failure patients in a similar way as we do for cancer patients.
Yeah, definitely. So just a couple of specific questions. So obviously we've now had COVID since this work started, and do you think that what you've done will stand kind of in a post-COVID world if we ever get to that stage?
Yes, well, have been working on the project for quite some time, so it was before COVID, and actually at the point we are now, I feel definitely actually COVID makes it more important. I think there's more willingness to have conversations around death and dying, and I think that services are looking to reset the end of life care, and I also think that you'll see in the videos and in the reports that we're looking at predictions that go 40 years in the future, and actually the things that happen around end of life, cancer patients, accidents, heart attacks and things like that, they will continue. So the fact that we take this long-term view, I think the report actually makes more importance, kind of post-COVID world.
No, great. I think, yeah, definitely make a strong case for that. Second to final question is, I know that we've only looked at adults for this report. why is that, and what do you call an adult?
We call an adult anyone who's 18 and over, and that was with some feedback from our expert working group that we set up and met with to help with a sort of clinical input into this report. The reason that we exclude children, those aged 17 and younger, is because the sort of paediatric services around end-of-life care are very different. So what we wanted to focus on was, you know, the kind of end-of-life services for the majority of people. Although we have in the past done quite a detailed analysis of paediatric palliative care and end-of-life, which is available for people to read if they want to, but we felt the two things are very separate and we wanted to keep them apart.
Yeah, no, thank you. And my final question is, what do you hope that people will do with this report? What's the impact that you'd like to see?
The impact that I would like to see, I would say, is twofold really. There's me as an analyst, I would like to see more analysts using the data. It's what we've prepared is available to everybody. It's incredibly detailed. We know, you know, exactly what day, what procedure, what drugs in a lot of cases, because we link to drugs and devices. We have so much information. I would like to see it used more. And I think kind of more generally, there's some things you see in the report, like high levels of emergency care, very close to death, actually with very short lengths of stay in hospital. You know, how could services really be transformed to help people so that they don't end up in an emergency situation, to help people die at home, to help hospice services, you know, have the right resources in place to support people. It's something, isn't it? I think end-of-life care affects all of us, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's, in working with you on this, I think I've felt quite passionate about that too, and actually that we're all going to die at some point, and actually we want to do the best for the people we love. And
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Justine. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the videos.
Thank you, Lucy.